senior being drivers over 60. Uh, we're talking about this because it's 50% or more of our drivers are in that age group, including myself, and some are getting close. And there's really a little something in here for everybody. So you might find this interesting. It's Van Buren Transit's responsibility to ensure that drivers are safe on the road. And we drivers need to be aware of our physical conditions and mental conditions and how they change as we age. There is no test that we can administer that would give us insight into diminished driving skills. So it's something that we have to kind of watch ourselves and police ourselves, and that's really what this is about. Um, Similar to teen driving, adults consider driving their independence, and like us, it's our income. So we have to guard that. We have to protect our driving skills and adjust them accordingly. It makes it very hard to be objective about how we drive because we want to protect that ability. But it's in our business, it's very important that you pay attention to the diminished driving skills. It's something that we all do, at some point in our lives. Much later, I hope, we'll have to give up our keys. We won't drive anymore. It won't be safe. So this is what we gotta kind of watch for, the slide in between then and now, so that you can drive safely. More than 8,000 seniors, 60 plus drivers were killed in traffic accidents in 2017. Um, Avoiding distractions like talking with clients and passengers is a big one. Um, Understanding physical and mental limitations and the effects of medications that you might be taking all play in to that. They become very important. The good news is, by keeping track of your health and paying attention to the things and being aware that changes are taking place, we can usually stay on top of it and drive for a very long time. And that's really what this is about. It's just some key things to help you kind of check your driving and where you might need to make adjustments accordingly. I have just a few questions that we're going to take a look at, and some suggestions afterwards that you answer yourself, basically. This isn't something that we're going to have like group discussions about or anything. It's really a personal matter, but it becomes not personal if you're not watching, if things go too far and we become a risk on the road. So we've all seen somebody that think, wow, they shouldn't be driving. Well, that's because they're not paying attention and they're not making the adjustments necessary, and that puts us in a danger zone. So that's what this is about. We're going to get you thinking about how you're driving, how your skills are diminishing, what's not diminishing, and what little steps you can take to make sure that you're still safe on the road. Okay? The first one is, how's your eyesight? That's one of the things that really goes when we get older. So here's some questions to ask yourself. Do you have trouble reading signs easily, recognizing someone you know from across the street, seeing street markings, other cars, and people walking, especially at dawn, dusk, or at night? Handling headlight glare at night. I know that we all don't drive a lot at night. Some of us do, early in the morning, late at night when it's dark. So these are things to consider. Okay, so if you said yes to any of these questions, you should make sure you always wear your glasses and keep your prescription up to date. Um, Very important. Keep the windshield and mirrors all clean um, and well adjusted. Uh, if you drive in the dark, you need to make sure your headlights are clean and that they're adjusted properly. If you don't feel like they are, check with Nick. Sit upright so that you can see as much of the road from the beginning of the hood out as far as you can. And then we tell you to look 15 seconds down the road, but there's a distance in between you need to check. If you're over 60, you should see an eye doctor every year. So if any of those things are relevant, those are some suggestions on how to take care of it. Um, The next series of questions are controlling your vehicle. Loss of strength, coordination, and flexibility can make it hard to control your vehicle. Do you have trouble looking over your shoulder in your personal car to change lanes, moving your foot from the gas to the brake pedal, turning the steering wheel, noticing stopped emergency vehicles, walking less than a block a day, going up and down stairs because you have pain in your knees, legs, or ankles? If you said yes to any of these questions, check with your doctor about physical therapy, stretching exercises, maybe some medication, or an exercise or walking program that fits you. That'll help. It helps you mentally as well as physically to stay flexible and sharp. Adjust your mirrors in a little bit so they cover more of your blind spot, the blind sides of the vehicle. Leave more distance. Following distance is a big thing for us, the 4-second rule. Maybe more than that if you notice that you're moving a little bit slower, when we all do. That's one thing I did when I was driving regularly. I left more space because I worried that my reaction time, by the time I see something, identify it to be a problem, move my foot to the brake and stop, might be a little bit longer than it used to be. So it's a good idea to stretch out that following distance and slow down a bit. I always say, you've heard me say before, our secret weapon is slowing down. It gives us more time to react to things. It lets problems pass us if we encounter other drivers on the road. So slowing down is never a bad thing. And you really need to double your efforts. One of the big things is to double your efforts to look around the blind spots. Our vehicles have tons. We got the posts, we got mirrors, and you need to do more than glance. Nowadays, our perception isn't what it used to be when we're 60 plus. So look twice, double check that. And when you're pulling out into traffic, look both ways a couple times, and don't just look way down the road. Look between you. Take your eyes from the vehicle out so that you see if anything is in that gap before you pull out. One of the big things is like waiting for a gap in traffic. If there's traffic, if you're waiting to pull out and there's a gap in traffic and you jump into it, you got to be real careful, because the things you haven't been watching for have changed since you looked. So be careful of that. If you see a gap in the traffic, if it's not big enough for you to ease out slowly and check all your corners and everything, then wait for the next one. Okay, and avoid left turns whenever you can. They're dangerous, but that's another topic. Okay. Does driving make you nervous, anxious, or overwhelmed? This is something that is personal. Okay. Do you feel confused by traffic signs and people and cars and traffic? Take medicines that make you sleepy? Get dizzy or have seizures or loss of consciousness? Hopefully not. React slowly to normal driving situations. Okay, if you answered yes to any of these, you really shouldn't be driving. You really should go to a doctor, tell them what you're experiencing, if there's medication or anything that can be done to relieve these issues. You need to stop driving now. You can develop a plan with the doctor to resolve these issues and get back to driving safely and comfortably. So you need to take that action. Okay, so I'm going to close this. No one knows how you answered these questions, and nobody's going to ask you. Like I said, what we're talking about here is a personal thing, how you do your job. It becomes not personal if you don't pay attention and become a risk. Then it becomes a hazard to Transit's equipment and your clients. So you need to be careful of that. If you have any of these concerns, if there's an answer to yes or any of these, or something that you think about or pay attention to, get it resolved. Go see your doctor. We've had a few major events in the last 6 months. Um, that we were very, very lucky that nobody was hurt. It was basically an act of God that prevented people from getting hurt on our buses. Some of this stuff came into play with those, and that's where we want you to think about these things. Okay? Know yourself, know the road, be safe. Hey, thanks for your time.